They said I was muted. Man, I'm tired. Okay, let me start over. Anyway. Woo! Hi. Welcome to Dope Living TV Live. The views that are expressed on this Dope Living TV Live are not necessarily the views of Dope Living TV or its affiliates. Now, all of that little stuff I was saying, I bet you any money that the sign language people knew what I was saying. They knew. All right, they saw it. They was like, "Oh, Greg." Look, when you were younger, even when you're old, let's go with your kids. If you're in the grocery store and your kid's snatching everything off the shelf, say you at home, you got your friend over, and y'all trying to get a little cozy, and your little man come and sit right between you. You told him to go to bed a long time ago, but he just waiting, proud, just getting ready to make sure that you ain't gonna get nothing tonight. Okay? Do you spank your child? All right, is that capital punishment? How do they react to that when they grow up? The ones that have been spanked when they grow up, how are they? Do we need more of it? We're gonna talk about that tonight, right here on WMTV. Okay, let me bring in my co-host. What's going on, Gina? Now you're muted. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Monkey see, monkey do. Now watch Marcy come in muted and Jeff come in muted.
She already unmuted. She ready to go. Everybody say what's up to Marcella.
Hi. No, I am not coming in muted.
Marcy, you couldn't follow the trend.
I don't always follow.
Sometimes you gotta follow in order to get to the front spot.
You do, but with this, I'm not monkey see, monkey do. No, not today.
Y'all keep calling me monkey. All right.
That's not bad. They're cute. I have a whole collection of stuffed monkeys.
I bet no. No. Gina, yeah, she probably do.
And the tigers don't go after it?
No.
Okay.
Gina.
I always ask for a live monkey every year for Christmas, and I never got my live monkey. You know the ones in the basement of Gold Blast, they used to have the spider monkeys.
Oh no.
I was like, I want one of those. I never got one.
They're gonna scratch out your eyes.
It's the culture, Gina. It's her culture. For the white people, they do that. They do stuff like that. You know, girl. I don't know. Anyway,
we're gonna do a show on mental illness soon.
We're gonna do a show on white people trying to be black too. Anyway, we'll make that happen. Good evening. Good evening.
Hi, Lanita.
Hey, Lanita.
Back in the day, man, when we were younger, I don't know about y'all, but I used to get my ass whooped. Okay. Now, not all the time. Not all the time.
All the time.
No, and he's still hard-headed.
All the time.
Yes, I am hard-headed.
Mm-hmm.
But
this one.
This is a PG show. So, and
okay, I just caught. Wait, I just caught that.
No, Gina, I'm the slow one. You can't be slow.
I'm like, we're gonna switch. Okay, I got it.
Both of y'all should be ashamed of yourself because I told y'all earlier, I'm the slow one tonight, okay? But we used to do some things, right?
Hi, Lisa.
Piss mom and dad off, and back in the day, most of our parents are from the South. I don't know about everybody. Most of our parents.
Yes, that's right.
And the South was where the slaves came from. All right, and so that way of punishment
mentality
that stayed there. Okay, so but at what point did it turn into Hot Wheels tracks and telephone cords? And anything you could probably find, sticks,
brushes, brooms.
You said crutches, brooms,
brushes.
Oh,
broom, all of that.
Extension cords.
And we took it too, but now you can't do anything to these kids. All right. I mean, how were you guys when you were younger? Do you think that the whippings, we'll call them whippings, the spankings, did they do you any good?
I didn't get any. Our parents taught my mom and dad talked to my sister and I, and pretty much just said, "This is what right. This is wrong. We're not playing with you. If you want to act up, act up. If you act up in the store, we're going to act up in the store. If you want to act up in school, we're coming up to the school, wherever it is that you're acting up." And pretty much all they had to do is talk to us. You know, like if there was something crazy or something, they would just sit us down and say, look, this was wrong. This is not something that you should do. This is not how you are being raised. And if this happens again, then these are going to be the consequences. And so we were pretty much more, both of us nerds, my sister more nerdy than me. All they had to do is kind of like look over at us like, hey, and we straightened up. Well, and I know that's not all children. Mm-mm. That was my upbringing. And pretty much that was how I raised my son. I didn't do timeout or anything like that. And it was just like, look, you're going to act right or you're going to get some get right.
So what happens?
Did you spank your son? Did you spank your son?
Mm-mm. I didn't have to.
You never got a spanking ever?
I'm trying to think. One time I acted as though I was, and he looked at me like, oh my God, what happened? You know, like what's going on? And I said, come here, let me talk to you. And when we talked, we reasoned it out. And I was just like, okay, I can't remember what it was. It was something minor. And I just, I just said, look, you can't act that way. This is just not the way you're being raised. Pretty much how my parents told me. And we're just not going to do that. Was he perfect? No, he's human. No one's perfect.
I think my son is perfect, but I stopped whipping him when he gave me that Denzel Washington one tear. He stood up and he was like,
"Oh!"
And he took it. He took it, and I was like, "That's it. I'm done." All right, because he basically was laughing. But when they don't respect the punishment, they can't do it no more.
Like, okay, hit me. Okay, it's gonna hurt for this second, and then it's gonna be over, and I'm gonna be looking at you all side-eyed and crazy, and it's gonna hurt. Look how they say the parents used to tell them this is hurting me more than it's hurting you. Actually, at times a lot of times I've heard parents say it hurt them more when they had to spank the child.
Yeah, it hurt me more. It definitely hurt me more. My son would tell you the same thing, because I'm the kind who, when I had Jordan, I did so much stuff in my life that I said, to be able to have this opportunity to raise a son, I did that, man. And just when I had to punish him, I was just doing what I thought was the right thing. That's what happened to me. My pops did that to me. I did it to him. But
learn behavior.
For all of that, and if he's probably watching. I know he is. Son, I shouldn't have. Me and you, we should have did some different things, okay? But it happened, okay? I went through a couple of bells, three brooms, maybe a whole tree. Definitely had some Hot Wheel track. I think I threw some wrestlers at them. A whole wrestling ring.
Not the wrestlers.
What else? I threw a tire at them one time.
Yeah, but did you consider that capital punishment or child abuse? Now they label that child abuse.
In 30 countries worldwide, it's illegal to hit your child. Did you guys know that?
No.
30 countries worldwide, it's illegal to hit. No, it definitely is not here. But they do teach in schools and different programs and things that kids, you can call Child Protective Services, CPS. And so I've heard of kids saying, look, I'm going to call CPS. And I've heard parents say, that's okay. I'm going to beat the crap out of you. And then I'll call CPS after I whoop you. Lanita said, my mom used to belt or a switch. That's it. But baby, the talking to. My dad's talking to. I done heard how they had to walk 10 miles, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But I turned out to be a responsible adult.
But was it because of this whipping? And I think a lot of these kids that have been out there doing the crazy things that they're doing, they've probably been better if they had got that. Because, you got to understand what the punishment, that for every bad deed, there's a punishment. For everything that you do wrong, there is a punishment for that. And I think that's what my folks were teaching us. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
there's a whole lot of alternate means of punishment too. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, I think the punishment should fit the child because I didn't have to spank my youngest son. I think he maybe got me to a point twice in his whole life when he was growing up that, I did have to go to those means, but it was very seldom. It didn't affect him a lot. What affected him was when I took away his um video game, or I didn't purchase some shoes, some a pair of Jordans that he wanted. So those were the things that really caused the change that I wanted. And that's what the punishment should fit the child. Like, if it's not gonna make a difference with them, and that's what you're doing, you're trying to get a change behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not gonna make a difference to them, why do it?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a difference. Now, I got whoopings. I ain't not gonna say spankings. We got whoopings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got whoopings, and I think that it did put us on a different path. I mean, I see these kids these days, and they're not afraid of anything.
They're
They
not.
don't feel there are consequences for anything they do.
They're gonna come
That's
back.
why, yeah, that's why a lot of them go out there and they do all these wild things. You read about it in the paper, and
Mm-hmm.
you're like, what the heck? Because they have no fear. We had fear.
Mm-hmm. And even
Our
like
parents put the fear of God in us.
and even with my parents and with my sister, my older sister and I, we had fear of our parents because we always knew that if necessary, we could get a spanking or a whipping. But it was like, once they talk to us, it's like, okay, I got you, I got you. And I've always been the type of child that was sensitive. So all you had to do was talk to me or just look at me or barely raise your voice. And my little feelings were hurt. And so I was trying not to be hurt, again or whatever. And when they told me, you can't do this, you're going to school, you're going to come back with good grades, period. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. If you don't understand, come to us and we'll explain or we'll get you help like that. But I was looking at an article about, I think it was Psychology Today. And I was looking at, is it okay to whip your child? And what it was saying was that it sometimes teaches your child that it's okay to hit someone smaller or weaker than you.
Who are these people? For real?
I'm just saying, this was some Psychology Today. It was saying, that's a way sometimes that can teach your child that. They're also talked about how sometimes some of how some I can't stand how some adults also go overboard at times, depending on how upset you were. Because I've been around friends, family, who kids were always getting in trouble, always doing crazy stuff, and they were ready to whoop them. And I would have to tell them, hey, hold up, please. I ain't trying to really get in your business, but I think that you're a little bit too upset right now in the moment. And it would not fit the crime or whatever the child did because they're so pissed off. And then sometimes it's like, you might have had a bad day at work. You might have had a bad day with your spouse or your boyfriend or something. And now your child does something minor. And because you can't get that adult, now it's kind of like sometimes they'll take it out on the child. And I've seen that. And that's why I'll be like, hey, wait. Like I don't do it in front of the kid, but I just kind of like,
You're speaking from the point of you've never had it done.
Okay? Right.
To me, that's unrealistic. Okay.
Right.
You haven't had it done to you.
But what I'm saying is, picture this. You were pissed off on your job. There was a whole lot of craziness and there's really nothing. You weren't the boss.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not really anything you can do. And you just pissed. You just spitting fire.
Then that's
and
the
you
day,
come
that's
with me
the
and you
day
come
shouldn't do
home.
anything. That's the day they shouldn't do anything wrong then. Okay.
No. And then you come home and you see that your child took their shoes off at the front door. And you've told them before, when you take off your boots, snow day, take off your boots, you go put them, in the wherever you put them, in the laundry room, wherever you put them. And this day there was a boot there. And because you pissed off about something that happened with an adult, Now you want to beat the hell out your child.
Have no clue about this. You clearly don't.
I'm just telling you that happens.
It does not happen.
I've seen that. That's what I'm saying.
Come on, man.
That's what I'm saying.
The White House. Okay, look, I'm telling you. You could be.
I don't know, Marcy. I don't know if you can speak on this subject.
I can speak. Okay,
the subject for you.
Okay, I'm gonna sit right here in my corner. I'm gonna drink. Let me see. I need to get me some food. Do I need to go get me some food or something?
No, you can talk. But
you know what?
Now, one thing I can say. That's your mental.
No, that wasn't
we
no
love you, Marcy.
That wasn't no
That's my mental.
But I want to speak on what Marcy's saying because I can see some truth in what you're saying, not so much as what you're saying, but there are instances when that child makes you so angry you should not punish them at the time.
That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't have to do with the outside environment. It has to do with the anger level that you are because of what that child did. And I have had times when my mother said, I can't whoop you right now because I'm too mad. Those are the times when you do have to step back because that anger will cause you to go over the top.
And that's what I'm saying. Not necessarily something just outside, but also inside when you're too angry. And it could be about what the child did. It could be about what somebody else did as well. And that's what I'm saying. Those are times where you need to step back because you're too angry.
You still gonna get that ass whooped, though. Okay.
Well, by no means was I saying don't whip the child because you're angry. I'm just saying if you're that angry at that moment.
Well, let's talk about that because that's interesting. Because some people feel like, and it sounds like the article you read, that it does not do anything positive when you whoop or spank a child. And a lot of the
I don't believe that.
A lot of the articles that are put out there, but I don't know who's doing these articles. They didn't ask my mama or my daddy. They didn't ask me.
White people don't spank their children.
They didn't, because the stories my granddaughter tells me when she comes home from school is unbelievable.
About the children?
How they talk to the teachers, the disrespect.
And
we would not dare disrespect our teachers back then. These kids will talk to their teachers any kind of way.
Yeah.
Uma says she's never got whipped. Uma, come on here with us for real quick, man.
Okay, there she go.
Lanita said, I'm a daddy's girl. His voice and tone change. I'm crying, and that happens in my relationships with men. But tell him I might be crying, but I will read your ass. All right. The middle child will try your gangster.
I'm the middle child.
Lanita, I'm with you with your dad part.
Now look, I'm gonna tell you, it's not a. You don't have to, and I hear what everybody's saying. They don't do their child. They say, okay, but the times that we came up right now, okay, fine. You don't want to be child, and you got different methods. That's great. Whatever works, all right. Whatever works to get that respect from your child. Okay, it was a matter of getting that respect and making sure that your child understood there was a punishment for the wrong that they did. All right, back in the day, and when we were young, except for in your household, Marcy, it was whippings. Okay, and like I said, they did everything. Now, sometimes we would get whipped, and I had a way to get out of it. Okay, period. Okay. First time I got a whooping, they whipped me, and it was, the whelps had they bled a little, right?
Okay. Oh, they were going to jail if it was this time of day. They were going to jail,
right?
Yeah, probably so. But my thing is, afterwards, so that I couldn't get it anymore, because I told them that time, and they was apologetic and this and that. Okay, so afterwards I said, okay, I got him. So I would make sure if I did something wrong and I was going to get a whipping, I would cut myself a little bit, make a little.
No.
Yeah, I did, and make the little blood come out. And that way, I'm like, I'm still in front of the last time.
Did you do your?
No.
Where you suck your bottom lip in?
It was funny. Okay, I had a brother who, we got a big house. So one of my brothers, there was a room that we had at the house where there was a closet within a closet. So when they whip him, they would always say, "Don't run, don't you be running, blah 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 blah." He runs straight to that closet, and you can't swing. You can't get your proper trajectory with all them clothes in the closet. Okay, and if you could, he would go back into that other closet, way back, and he'd sit there all day because you ain't getting me. All right, and they wouldn't get him out there. So that was his punishment. That became their punishment. Stay in there, you know. Lanita said that she's definitely.
That's Tree said it.
She's definitely a middle child.
That's
Tree's out there in Vegas. She's out there in Vegas. Be safe.
I'll say hi to my daughter, Tree.
I think.
Tell her I said I love her.
I think they're going to a WNBA game with Chris.
Tell Chris, hey.
Yeah. So I mean,
hanging out with Chris.
Yeah, she's hanging out with Chris today. They're going to a WNBA game, I think. Okay. But you guys, I mean, everybody, y'all chime in on this, all right? Because it is a sensitive subject, but it is a subject that does need to be talked about. And hopefully,
you at the airport?
I don't know what is that. True?
Say what?
Airport. I just heard a plane go by.
I don't have any noise outside. I'm in my home by myself. Well, no, I don't have it.
But you know what?
No, that is Maurice in the background somewhere. Look, it's probably him. He's throwing his sounds in.
What do you do when you have a child that all of their life, pretty much until they get maybe preteen, because that's when they start feeling themselves, or teen, when they get that age, and you didn't have to whoop them, you didn't have to spank them, punishment was enough, or whatever you know, the talk tos, they were good enough, but then now they're preteens and things are changing. What then?
Peer pressure. I was just saying it could be peer pressure,
right?
And I would say sit them down to find out what's changed in their life.
Lord,
because and the reason why, and okay, listen, the reason why, that's a lot of the times where a lot of the bullying at the schools really start. And a lot of times when the children are acting out, it's because there's other things here, and they want to ask for help. They don't know how to ask for help, and they start acting out. And a lot of times when you start, pulling back some of these layers, there's something going on. Because if you never really had a lot of trouble,
what happens when you take that step and it's nothing's? I mean, you still having issues. You still having problems with that child. Then
what? You might have to tag that donkey.
You're saying that now, but you never did. Okay,
I didn't have to. But my son knew if it came to it that I would do it.
I can't believe. I'm just saying.
My dad stopped talking to me, and it was terrifying, and that was enough for her.
Oh, I was that sensitive child. I didn't get as many whoopings as my sister and brother.
Me too.
But my mother just had to raise her voice, and I was crying.
Mm-hmm.
My dad. Especially my dad. But my mom. Either one. I was just very sensitive. Period.
Mm-hmm.
And I just I just got a threat. That was enough for me. But the reason that I brought that up is because I never had to spank my granddaughter. I never had. I mean, there weren't many problems at all, until she turned 11. And then it was a lot of sassying, back talking, this, that, and I sat her down and talked to her. Then the next talk was, okay, keep on. Then the next talk was, okay, now you really pushing my buttons. And then that one day happened, and I just backhand her. It was like she was almost
stunned.
Like she was standing at me toe to toe, and before I knew it, it was like pap, and I knocked her clear out the chair.
And see, I would have to do that.
Don't tell that story on your show because that stays in this house. You can't talk about that.
Oh, that's what you were told.
Talk about it. Told me. But I've never had any problems out of her since that.
And sometimes it takes
almost like she was trying me, and the more that she just kept trying and pushing the envelope a little bit further and further and further until it got to that point, and it was like, okay, now you sound like you paying rent, or I'm living in your house. And it was just such a quick reflex that I didn't even know that my hand just went like that. Next thing I know, I had knocked her out that chair. But when she got up, And she came back to me about a week later and she told me, she said, Nana, I'm so glad you did that
Aw.
because I was really getting out of hand. And that tells me she knew it.
Now, question. Do you think that was learned behavior, that maybe she saw that with others? Because like you brought up about the schools, I worked in a school and I saw craziness. The kids were disrespectful. I'm walking through a hall, kids talking all kind of crazy to certain teachers. I'm like, wait, hold up, wait. We don't talk like that. And I've talked to the students there, and they kind of like looked up at me like, I was crazy. And I'm like, no, we don't do that.
I'm
And
with Carl.
those were some, huh? No,
You know what? I don't think it was. I don't think it was so much as learned behavior because she's been in my house the whole 11 years.
But if they're saying at school, a lot of that.
I think it's a point where in a child's life they're gonna try you.
Okay.
They're gonna try you, and they're gonna see how far. And that's how I felt like she was doing, trying me just to see how far she can get.
Okay.
And it just escalated each time. It was just more and more. Now I don't have any problems out of her.
And my son did try me, but I didn't have to spank him or whip him. And like you said, I stepped up to him and I, said what I said, and he knew I meant what I said. And I did tell him I can take you out if necessary.
You can mean it till you blue in the face.
But I didn't have to. That's the thing. I didn't have to.
I'm just saying, different times, different methods.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Oh yeah, and different
people. Says I understand what everybody's saying. Okay, but back in the day, those parents came from a place where they got spanked, and they tried in order to do what they had to do for their kids to keep them off the street. Because I'm gonna tell you, some of the stuff that I did was bad. Some of it wasn't so bad. Okay, and those not so bad things, we even still got it because it taught us that there is a punishment for the crime. All right.
Right.
If you don't want to go to jail or be out in the street or even get kicked out of the house, all right, then you do what you're supposed to. You do the right things. They know you're not going to do the right things all the time. They ain't gonna beat you all every single time you do something. Okay. And my mom and dad were very selective when they did it. But the point remains is that it's different time, different eras. Okay, Uma may talk to her daughter, okay, and punish her by telling her to go to the corner. You know what I'm saying? Or you can't do this, or maybe you can't work in the store. It's a lot of things, but I don't fault anybody for spanking a child. Now, what I do fault is this: doing that in public. All right, snatching your child up and damn near breaking their neck. In public. But the other thing is this: if you let it go, because I've seen some of your cousins, Marcella, the white people, they will let the child just run around and do everything.
Yes. Now that angers me because you have to train your child. I don't care. I mean, if you don't spank them, that's fine, but you do need to train your child. And I've seen so many. Oh my gosh, I worked in a daycare in Highland. That was the worst job I ever had in my whole life. And I ran a daycare for 8 years, closed my daycare, decided I'm going to close it. I'm tired of having all the responsibility. I'll go work at a daycare and just work and go home. They let those kids do whatever they wanted. You could not raise your voice. You could not even tell them to sit down. And I was horrible.
My son was in the Boy Scouts, and we were on a hayride.
We're gonna keep this short because we got a lot of.
Okay, it's short. And this parent told her son, she's like, Bobby, don't do such and such. And Bobby looked and said, Mom, if you say one more thing to me again, I'm going to smack you.
Ooh, Bobby.
I was like, whoa. And the rest of the parents, we looked.
Ooh, Bobby.
And we were like, and I was like, okay, I think I'd have been off in the woods somewhere dead, And I just kind of like, I looked at her. And I was, and I know she thought I was crazy because I'm like, what you didn't do? Like, and then it was funny because afterward, the other parents, as we were going to our cars, we were like, I said, I believe Bobby. I had my money on Bobby. We were all like, yeah, we had our money on Bobby.
Hey, Jeff.
What's up, y'all?
That was crazy.
Yeah. Everybody say what's up to life coach Jeff Rutherford.
Hey, Jeff.
Yes.
Real quick,
What's
Jeff, because
up?
I know you want to chime in. Lanita
Man.
says, one tried me and got these hands. My coworker saved it from 2 to 5 stomping. Bree says, well, I had to really check my child one good time. Won't say what the situation was, but it was very serious.
Mhm.
We don't have a relationship anymore. Well, it
Oh,
must
wow.
Okay, we're going to pray on that.
Jeff, put some life coach in this, bro.
I turn my mic up.
Turn it up. Turn it up.
We want to hear.
Look here, I tell anybody, I love my mom to death. My mom was crazy. I love her to death. I love her. We had a good time at the wedding. Y'all saw the little videos. We was dancing. We was getting it all. We was good. But when I was that young lad, that young boy, mama was a little. So, needs to say I got a lot of whoopings for literally for little to nothing. You know what I mean? Like it was just like breathing, or if I asked a question about something because I was a child and I was trying to gain understanding, parents always say, well, stop getting smart. What do you mean smart? I thought smart was a good thing. And then boom, here it is again. You being a child, little stuff like that. So I dealt with a lot of that growing up. I dealt with a lot of not wanting to reason, not wanting to try to get the understanding and everything. I believe that's why I am the way that I am now. I can be a bit more direct with people depending on the situation. I tend to be straightforward to the point. And sometimes if you're not there, I'd be like, what's going on? You know what I mean? But yeah, the whole beatings and everything, when we start dealing with that with children, we have to be very careful because it's a difference from trying to actually train up the child. Okay. And like y'all discussed earlier, getting the beating because now you done lost your mind, you crazy, you bringing in all your emotions into that day. You know what I mean? That's not fair. You don't take that out on the child. You check yourself at the door. You check your emotions at the door. And with me getting ready to be a father to a girl, I'm happy about that.
She's never gonna get a spanking.
She probably gonna work the nerve though. She probably gonna work the nerve because I said what I want to do with my child was I actually want to hear my child. You know what I mean? I want to try to talk, have conversation. Now that don't mean you get crazy with me because nowadays all you gotta do is take something like this away from the kid and then they ready to just go crazy. So it's just little stuff you can do, but all of that, the parents need to really nowadays. I was at Walmart, no lie, at Walmart last week, and this one was like looking at the child had to be like 2 or 3 years old, and was saying, "You better not do such and such because I'm gonna smack that out of you." Just like saying all of that, and I'm just like, "Yo, the baby can barely comprehend what's going on."
Know that F word though, right?
Y'all threw it around like it was just so loose, and I was just like, "Oh my people."
That's sad.
It was bad. It was bad, but that's that whole thing, yo. Them beans, it's a gift and a curse. You use it in the right way, it can work. But when you use it in the wrong way, you can have that child can have resentment to the parent. That's what caused the relationship gap between me and my mother. Because it was the beatings, the assuming, different stuff like that. So
yeah,
with that.
And something interesting about that, and how the kids say they can call Child Protective Services and things of that nature now. Working in social service agencies, so I know a little bit about these kind of things. But I actually heard a person in Child Protective Services say that just because a parent talks to their children in that manner, cursing them up and down, it's okay. There's nothing they can do about. I'm just telling you what I was told
Oh my
by a
God,
case
you on the wrong
worker.
show, Marcy. You are on the wrong show
No,
tonight.
this was an African American case
Wow.
worker who I spoke to,
Okay, but
and
that don't make no
she
sense
was
to me.
saying that it's okay. We can't do anything just because the parent wants to curse the child out. And a lot of times when you're having these spankings and all of this going on, if you call Child Protective Services, if you don't have marks on you, and a lot of parents have learned how not to leave a mark, there's nothing we can do. Yeah. You raising your hand?
Yeah, I've learned not to leave a mark.
Okay. But there's nothing you can do. And then because the child has been acclimated to,
you hit them in the throat and shut them up, okay? You hit them in the throat.
in the throat, in the throat.
You karate chop.
She had that look.
Wait, in the
Because if
throat.
they talking,
In
you
the
hit,
throat.
no, not the throat, the throat. Okay, you
I
hit them in
said
the throat,
the throat. The throat.
right? And then you punch
I
them in
knew
the
he was gonna say that.
you
I
punch them in
knew
the
it.
kidney. You punch them in the kidney so that they won't.
No.
Man, I'm telling you.
No,
And
but
then
seriously, when
okay,
you talk about punching
mhm.
in the kidneys and,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
things like that, I hate to read those stories
You
where
do,
a
because they do.
child dies by
Yeah.
the hand of their parent.
I don't mean
No,
boxing punching.
no, I'm just saying, and that just brought that thought to my
And then you
mind.
back kick them.
And then and then not only that, when they do come to interview the children, because there's been so much craziness already, and the parents are like, how now that was one thing back in the day. What happens in our house stays in our house. Let me find out you're repeating what we've said or what we've done in this house, and we're going to come back and get you again. And that's what the caseworker was saying to me, that if the child does not tell us what's going on, we can't do anything. But if the child just say, oh, they're cursing me out and this and that, and I'm like, so what about the mental and emotional abuse? And they're like, so if we don't hear it, there's nothing we can do. If we don't see it, there's nothing we can do. If the child does not speak up, there's nothing we can do. And even if they take the child to a different room, it's still, the child is too afraid to say anything.
So that brings me to a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, outside of Greg, but do you think it causes mental illness?
What do you say? Do I think it what? That Greg is mentally ill?
No,
what you say?
I said outside of Greg,
Mm-hmm.
do you think that spankings and whoopings cause mental illness in children as adults?
I think that it can, depending on how aggressive it is, how often it is, and the reasons why.
it's because you're white and you didn't get spanking. That's why.
No, it can cause that, because it can be mentally or emotionally abusive. All abuse is not physical.
I agree.
And that can cause, like, who was that? Lanita and me. Like I said, I was very sensitive back then. And even though my parents didn't really have to raise their voice at me and my sister, just even now, if someone is raising their voice, I kind of tune out. I'll tell you in a minute, check your tone with me. Check your tone. Because I can go a whole different somewhere else with that. Now, if it's someone I'm really close to and I really care about, and they have part of my heart, oh, I'm very hurt. I am very hurt by that. And that, if you're constantly being screamed at, you're constantly being whipped, that can also play with your mind as though you're not good enough. You're always wrong. You're always going to be bad. Where a kid can end up, what? They don't care. I don't care. That's not really showing they care, because they're constantly hurting me when I do something. So it's like, okay, if I do something, I'm going to get hurt. And regardless, I'm going to get hurt. Yep. So I'm going to continue doing this. And that can be a form of mental illness, because depression is a form of mental illness. And a lot of people don't realize that. And a lot of kids you can go into depression having to deal with that. I knew a family, they got a lot of whippings, but then it was like, they would stand there like, okay, I get whippings all the time. Like, okay, So, right. So then they started getting put on punishment. And we would crack up laughing because there'll be a group of us who were like, okay, Shaft is coming out. So it's like 15 to 20 of us. We're going to all get together, get on the bus, and go to the movies.
Mm-hmm.
And we would laugh with. They were like, hey, call Jeff and Gina, see if they can go. Y'all sister and brother. We're on punishment. And so the joke was, don't call Jeff and Gina because, they always on a forever punishment. It wasn't a punishment like, okay, the next 2 weekends you can't, or the next 2 weeks you can't go outside or something. It was like the next 4 months. You can't go outside. You come straight home. You can't go anywhere. You can't talk on the phone. You can't do this. You can't do that. We didn't have the cell phones and the computers and iPads and things like that. But it just got to, now they turned out to be good people as adults. But still, that kind of played on their mind because I would hear a couple of them still talk about it in adulthood. Exactly. How I hated that. That hurt me so bad. And, and I'm, and it was for minor things. I didn't wash one dish. I washed 50 dishes, but I left one glass in the sink.
Yeah. And to speak on that mental illness part and how it can get to you when you're older, like I said, I try to be transparent with everything when I talk about stuff that goes on with me. And that was a real thing with me and my mom. And I told you I'm a twin. So there was a lot of division put between me and my brother. Mm-hmm. So when that took place, it was like, well, I would go ahead and I would do something. And it seemed like when I did it, all hell broke loose. Mm-hmm. But when it came to my brother, he did no wrong. You know what I mean? So
yeah, we're identical twins. I mean, you guys are identical twins.
We're fraternal.
Oh, fraternal. I was going to say how could
when it's
twins?
We look identical. We look identical. My mom would always say that I reminded her of my father or whatever. And see, I had to hear stuff like that too growing up. You know what I mean?
A lot of kids do.
Yeah, a lot of kids do. So you know what I mean? When that whole mental and emotional part of it is real because it's always some type of emotion behind the whooping. It's always something behind the spanking if it's not controlled. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and when I said it it took that animosity I had towards my mother was well into my 20s. Mm-hmm. Well into my 20s. Because it was that relationship she had with my brother and still has with Jimmy. But I had to learn that I have to stay in my own lane. You know what I mean? If I stay in my own lane, I'm good. It's when it's 9 times out of 10 when they start meddling and interfering with what I got going on. Mm-hmm. That's when the problems happen. You know what I mean? So I try to separate myself from that. But them spankings and whoopings, I'm telling you, that has so much to do with it. Because like you said before, Marcella, you start to wonder if you always wrong. Okay. Or when am I right when I say something?
Do they love me for real?
Yeah, exactly. Do they love me for real? Can I really speak up on certain things? Can I speak my mind? Can I have the relationship that I want with my parent? Those are real things, yo. Those are real things.
But Jeff, one would look at you and say, well, you know what? You turned out great.
Yeah. Because I had to do a lot of inner work in me.
Soul searching, yeah.
I had to do a lot of forgiveness in my heart. You know what I mean? And I had to accept what I didn't want to accept. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I had to say, Jeff, you know what? This starts with you. And if you want to succeed in anything you do, you cannot hold the grudge. It starts with family, the people closer to you first, and then you'll be able to outwardly push that towards other people. Mm-hmm. So now where I was born with competition, I've trained my mind not to always look at people as competition. Okay. I can help you and you can help me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Oh, you're a twin too, Felice. Okay. Okay, you got a twin brother. So you understand what I'm saying a little bit. You understand what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about. So,
yeah, so and it's real. Mm-hmm. It's real out there with, you might not want to call it mental illness, but it is a mental it is a mental thing.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah.
So
but then, a lot of people ask, are kids going into schools, shooting up the schools and doing all these mass murders because they weren't disciplined? They didn't get spankings and they didn't feel the consequences of doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Jeff.
Because I always wondered about little Timmy. You know, when little Timmy go ahead and do a little school shooting, I call him little Timmy because usually little Timmy or Bobby or Arthur or something like that. You know, but I'm just saying, normally when they go and they do the shooting, you know, you hear about how they had a lot of anger and rage. And normally that anger and rage is felt because they didn't get that attention. They didn't feel like they were loved. They felt like nobody was looking at them or checking up on them. You know what I mean? That I've always thought that was very interesting, you know, because when you look at a culture where one group does so much to be in the child's face and to be in the control of what the child does, and then it's like, okay, well, it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. You see how the separation of both cultures happens where on, I'll just say the white side, the other side, the Caucasian side, to where it's that more of emotional trauma behind it. As to where you look at our culture, we have to suck it up and we have to deal with it. So we keep that inside so much that now we are 20, 30, 40 years old and we still talking about what mommy and daddy did. And now we have to come to grips with it later on. We don't destruct, you know, but.
Lenita says she tells her kids either they're going to sink or swim. Stop holding on to it. What happened or
could have, would have, should have been.
Yep. You got to move on.
You know,
that's as they get older, though. You know, definitely you gotta you can reason more because they've got a better mindset. You know, their minds are different now. Go ahead, Marcel.
You know, I looked into the with school shootings and things because just on September 21st there was a shooting in Florida. And I'm sorry, I got my notes here. I was out the majority of the week. And there was Columbia High School in Columbia County School District, I believe that was in Florida, on September 10th. They decided to take safety measures, like for high school games and things like that. Whereas no backpacks, students have to show their IDs coming in and things. And they have a 3-phase thing for school safety. The second one, if they have to go to phase 2, is going to start using wand and metal detectors. And if they have to go to, and also for the first phase, with the no backpacks and student IDs, 8th grade and under, you must be accompanied by a parent. And you have to show the IDs and things. And then the third phase would be where only the parents of the cheerleaders and the athletes would be allowed if they have to go to that. But then there was a school shooting around September 21st in Newport News. They were saying in Virginia. And that was a 17-year-old was shot, girl shot in the leg, and a 17-year-old boy was shot in the side of his face. And a lot of this comes from bullying. There's a lot of bullying that's going on in the schools now. Hold on, because I looked that up too. And I think as far, you know, when you start talk about a lot of the violence, a lot of it stems from the bullying. And bullying can be physical, hitting, kicking, tripping people, verbal, name calling or teasing, relational or social, such as spreading rumors, or we're going to leave Gina out of our group. I remember in high school, I was with a group of girls and another girl came and joined us. And we were all friendly with her. She was a friend of mine and a friend of a couple of the other girls. But there was one girl. We were out, you know, just walking around the school on lunch hour. And she started running. And I don't know, you know, there's, you know, in our culture, as African Americans, you know, we joke. Somebody running, we're gonna start running too. You know, like, and ask as we run it, what we're running for. Versus, okay, well, hey, what's going on? Why are we running? And we all started running. Until I heard, and even this other girl, I'll put her girl B. And girl B is running with us. And I all of a sudden heard this one girl say, because we were like, okay, why are we running? What's going on? What is there a dog or what's going on? And this one girl said, no, girl B is ugly. We don't want her to be with our group. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow. And girl B heard and she stopped. And I stopped along with her. And they were like, come on, Marcella, come on. I said, mm-mm. I'm not hanging with you guys. And, I talked to the other girl. I stayed with girl B and we went on our way. I said, girl, come on. We don't need to be around them. And, she named girl B by her name. So she knew exactly who she was talking to. And I spoke to the other girls later. I said, why did you guys continue to be with her? Well, she's real popular and stuff. I said, but did you hear what she said? Like, how dare you and stuff. And that's a form of bullying, damaging a person's property. And a lot of times when you hear about some of these shootings at some of these schools, it's because someone was bullied. I know a school system in Northwest Indiana. I'm on a Facebook community thing with them. And the first 2 weeks of school, there were parents complaining about the buses, how their kids weren't hurt, but there are other kids that are hitting, talking about kids, spraying stuff, spitting on them, touching them in inappropriate manners. And I remember I put in there, okay, you said it wasn't your child, but did you call the school? What are you doing as a parent? Because it might not have been your child today, but it can be your child the next day.
Yeah.
Are they pointing out
your child?
Right.
You would want someone to protect your child.
Yeah. Teach your child, if you see something, say something. Go call up to that school. Look, this is what's going on this school bus, or this is what's going on in my child's school. What are you guys going to do about it? Yeah. There need to be some type of universal school rules, regulation, or something put in effect. If you got to start having people on the school buses, and I know it's hard now because you can't even get the bus drivers on there, let alone a bus assistant. And I heard that a bus assistant actually quit the second week because they were like, those kids are bad.
So do you believe that the anger issues that the kids are going through is due to them getting the whoopings at home and maybe not being heard from maybe their parents or parent? You know what I mean?
I think it can be that and or not getting any attention at all. And this might be how they have to get attention.
It's so many elements out there. I couldn't agree with you that I just couldn't agree that that's the cause, because it's so much out there in their lives now with social media that it could be a whole lot of things. And maybe, I want to share a story where I have a cousin who she always complained about my aunt chastising her, spanking her. You can't go here. She get in trouble. She get a spanking. And she had a friend that came over to her house, and she got in trouble that day with her friend, and my aunt chastised her and spanked her in front of the friend. And she told her friend, I hate my mother. And her friend told her, you should be grateful. My mother don't care what I do. At least your mother cares about you. So it's a different insight, on a different angle of getting a spanking, because that child felt like her parents didn't even care enough to spank her when she did something wrong.
And that's what I was just saying. It could be because of spankings, and then it could be because I'm not getting attention at home, so I'm going to act out so that maybe, to get attention, when I'm out here. Because then I know it's going to be attention. I'm going to get some type of attention, even though it's a negative type of attention, because now you're in trouble. So it can go either way.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
It can go either way.
Jenny, do you have any kids?
I have 3.
You have 3? In what instances did you spank your children? Was it a justified, more of a justified reason? Did you have a couple times?
You know what? When their spankings came when it was something very, very serious. For instance, if it was, something going on where they were causing problems in school, like they knew not to have teachers calling me. If their teachers are calling me, your child is doing this, that, I'm up at the school and you're in trouble, because I send you to school to learn. I don't send you to school to clown your teachers, and they're adults. You respect them. If you have a problem with that adult, you come and tell me, and I will handle it adult to adult. That's not your place to handle it. So those are the type of situations where I did whoop my children. My older children, my youngest is 8 years younger than my middle child. And so they always laugh and say they got that he skated from all the whoopings. They got all the whoopings growing up, and he didn't get whoopings, and he was lucky, this and that. But it was, it was a lot going on back when they were young. My daughter's 38, my son is 36, and then I have one that's 20. I'm sorry, 30. And so, back then they were snatching kids coming home from school.
Still doing it.
And when you're a parent, that's fearful.
Yeah.
And so you want to make your children aware that these dangers are out there. You can't be out there, doing the things that you're doing, because it could be life-threatening to you. So there were instances when I did have to whoop my children. And like I said, my youngest, he was one of those, like your son, Marcella. I didn't have to say much. I didn't have to do much spanking with him in order for him to straighten up. Now, I do remember when, he had really gotten out of hand, and I sent him to live with my mother, which they felt like was sending them to jail.
Because that's all it takes, is that little bit of chastisement. That's all it takes.
Because my mom didn't play. When I say she would pick up a brush, anything that's close by, and whap, 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 whap.
Man.
And so they did. He didn't. That was the worst punishment that he could have gotten. Was me sending him to live with his, because she was that old school grandmother. When we got home from school, and she did it with him as well, we were out cleaning the yard, pulling weeds, cutting bushes, cutting the yard, digging up dirt. I remember coming home from junior high school every day, and my mom had this big tree. We had this big tree in our backyard, and my mom wanted that tree removed. And in order for her to save money to have that tree removed, it was cheaper for her to dig the tree up, and then they remove it, than for them to have to do that. And every day we came home from school, we had to grab a shovel and go out there and dig that tree roots. But that was the kind of mother. She just felt like you work hard. And so when I sent my son over there, man, he came back a different teenager. He came back very different, apologizing to me. I'm so sorry. So that's all it took,
Yeah.
And that's why I say you have to have the punishment to fit the child.
There you go.
Because not always is spankings the thing to do, because that might not affect that child, and it may not get the behavior removed that you're trying to get removed.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, did anybody get the switch?
Oh, my grandmother was the switch.
I know I got.
She was the one got the switch, and she made you go get that switch.
I got a whole tree.
So when grandma said, go out there and give me a switch, and then she take all of that branch stuff off of there, the brown part, and it got down to the green part, baby.
I still got them webs on my booty today. Oh, he's 500 years old, so he still got his webs.
Man,
I
remember that one time.
But I never felt abused. I never felt like, it was out of anger or hate. I knew I had did something.
Yeah.
I knew there were consequences when I did something that I wasn't supposed to do. So I knew that, I did this and I'm going to get it.
And, that's the blessing in how you grew up, because there were other families where children constantly got beat, and it wasn't that. Maybe a parent actually had a mental illness. Again, like how Jeff said, his mom said, you remind me of your dad, or something to that effect. I've heard of a lot of instances in that aspect. When I worked in that arena, and I had to set up supervised visitation And I had to read court documents to see what happened to some of these children and why they were now doing these supervised visitations. Some of these whippings weren't whippings. They were beatings.
Mm.
And it could have been drug or alcohol induced.
See, those are isolated incidents.
Right. And I understand that. And that's why I'm saying they're all different types of instances. Like Gina, like you said, you knew you were still loved and it was things that you did wrong. But then you have children out here, their wrongdoing was crying because I'm trying to penetrate you at age 4.
But you got these different parents again.
Right, and that's what we're saying.
At the ages that we have right now, Marcella, the ages of these parents, you know, they didn't get it when they were coming up, okay? So these parents now, they don't know what to do with their kids, okay? And they don't have any morals. They're entitled, all of that stuff. So, you know, I understand your stories and this, and you know, I joke about this and this sometimes, but the thing is this. Everything's out of control, and we, even though we came up like we are, you know, we got a bunch of fine, upstanding people on this panel. So we've done dirt. That's the, you know, and the level of dirt we can't raise a flag for, but we had the mentality that, okay, if we do this, this is gonna happen. I don't want this to happen. All right. So these kids now don't understand that. They've seen, you know, they come up in the age where they see these video games. You can get on Grand Theft Auto, steal a car. You ain't going to jail.
Video game.
You know what I'm saying? You can do all of that stuff. I played all of those games with my son to the point where he understood, you know, that's not real. You know what I'm saying? But it's just a game. Let's try to get to the end. Let's see what's up, okay? My son didn't take the moment to, you know, get out the car and slap the girl, you know, and shoot up everybody and this and that. He never liked the shooting games really anyway. All right. The karate games, yes, but you know, my thing is it's and I'm gonna say this all the time, it's a different era that we're in. But push come to shove, hit him in the throat.
Not the throat again.
In the throat. In the throat.
Just a chop. Just a chop.
Chop. Yeah, but you know, it has to be a balance there, you know.
Yeah.
Because you just can't let your child run wild and do whatever and not have any consequences, because as an adult, that's how they're going to think life is. I can do whatever and it should be okay. Exactly. It should be okay, but it's not okay. And that's not taught. The morals are not taught. The fear is not there. Everyone, and you may think what I'm saying you don't agree with, but you should have some fear of something in your life.
Exactly.
Yeah, you should.
And if there's no fear there, you will do anything.
Those are the ones that are in jail, Gene. The ones that don't have any fear. The ones that don't want to listen. The ones that think every single damn thing that they do is cool and I'm not going to get caught. Okay? I might do something bad, but I'm not going to get caught. And then they become the little bitches in jail. You know, excuse me, I can say that because y'all ain't seeing my face. They become the little bitches in jail. You know?
But you know, I know a young man that's there, and I know his parents. And that poor child, and I'm not going to say poor child because he did some things, because I had to get on him a couple of times for something. But that boy was getting his donkey whooped all the time.
Marcy, when you get ready to say a curse word, just tell me, Greg, curse. I said
donkey. His donkey. Getting his donkey whooped all the time. And I mean, it's like every time you turn around, it's like, oh, wait, oh. And when I say whipped, it's like Child Protective Services should have been coming pretty much kind of like, you know, it was like, it wasn't just like a smack, or it was like whoop, I mean, like a whooping. And
but you know, you are on the outside
now. They're in prison now. They still, it didn't help.
You know, you're on the outside looking in, though, okay?
This was an African American family.
Oh, well, you definitely on the outside looking in. Okay?
Like how old?
You can't look from the White House.
The child was in elementary school, and the child is in mid-20s now.
And how were the parents at the time?
Exactly.
The parents are late 40s now.
Yep. There you go.
Okay.
But I know the parents really well. And again, no, they believed in whippings. These people did not play. The mother or the father.
But
they did not play.
Looking in.
They had other children as well. And I mean, they beat his donkey.
The ass. They should have hit
so
him in the
why is it
hit him in the throat?
So
when those individuals go to jail, the first thing that is brought up is, oh, they were abused, they were beat by their parents, and they got whoopings, and that's the reason they're doing this.
But you know what? They're gonna say that whether they came from stern parents or whether they came from parents that weren't stern. You know what? They're in here because they didn't get the whippings. Okay, they're in here because the parents were too stern. You know, so you're gonna hear from both sides regardless.
See, because with me,
go ahead, Jeff. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, brother. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, so there is no. I mean, is there a right? Is there a right or wrong? You know, is who's right, who's wrong? Look, I got spanked. I got whipped. I'm good. Yeah. I'm flourishing. I'm good because of it. I'll say because of it. Okay, because there's some things that I could have done. And if they had to let me get away with it, I'd have been a different way right now. So because of the punishments and all of that I got, I'm the man I am today. Period. Have I made mistakes? Oh, of course I've made mistakes. After I got out of their house, I made mistakes. All right. So do I believe in sparing the rod and spoiling the child? Yeah. If you don't have any actions towards a child when they've done something wrong, they're not going to respect you. And like Jenna said, you got to have some semblance of fear. Okay. You know, people say you put the fear of God in the child. Okay. All right. At that point, and I'm not even going to say hit him in the throat. Okay. Look, grab him by the left arm, you know, wear that bottom out. Okay. That's why they did it in schools back in the day too, because they had the paddles. All right. Because if you're going to disrupt this, number one, if you're going to disrespect my class, I'm going to take care of you. But in order to save the parents from having to come out here all the time, parents know, hey, they got a board. They're going to spank your child is going to get spanked. Now, there's some, and those parents that, give me a second, y'all. Those parents that came up there and said, well, you know, I didn't give you permission to spank my child and this and that. Those are the fake parents to me, okay? Those are the fake ones, all right? Because you're not there with your child. You ain't seeing what your child has done, okay? Your child gonna come home and tell you, I didn't do nothing, and he did this. Okay, you come up to school, well, I did this and I spanked. Look, where's Joe Clark at, man? I'm telling you, if you spare the rod, you spoil the child, okay? It doesn't work for everybody, okay? You spare the rod, okay, Marcella didn't get spanked, okay? Didn't get it, okay? And she turned out fine. But that's 1% of it. You know, that's a rare occasion. Period.
And you know, I just think it depends on the situation, the family dynamics, and all of that. Because like we said earlier,
that's not realistic, Marcella. It's not, okay. It's if you saying the family dynamics and this and that, okay. If your child came in there and did the wrong thing, okay, back in the day when we were coming up, beat that ass, okay. That child ain't gonna do it no more. All right.
But you have some kids where it does not take putting physical fear in them. You have some children that you know, I really believe that you can talk to and you can still put the fear in them. I had fear of my parents. I knew that if I did something wrong,
you put 10 kids together, and I'm telling you, you take one of them may listen to that, okay? The rest of them gonna be rolling their eyes, smacking, okay? That's when you're gonna go down the line real quick and hit them each in the throat, okay? Real quick. You're just gonna do the. I'm telling you, it's Marcella. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I'm saying, you know, you gotta open your eyes with this one, okay? Because you worked in that field, you worked with kids and this and that, but that's a microcosm, chasm of the bigger picture. the bigger picture is most of these kids that are out there that are in jail and this and that, okay, if somebody had to put their foot in their ass, okay, it'd have been a different thing. Now, Kevin Hodges, shout out to my brother, you know, and again, this is an open forum, so everybody can. Oh, I'm trying to do it with one thing. I'll switch 3 methods of doing this, okay, because I've been out of it today. But Kevin says you can't let these people put hands on your kid. Physical punishment is a poor excuse for your failure as a parent to communicate. I agree with that part. If you have to resort to beating your child, see, it's the way that you're saying it, okay? Beating, you know?
Yeah.
It's just the way that you're saying it right there, brother. You're entitled to it, though. If you have to resort to beating your child, you haven't put in the time necessary to build a relationship. That's what it's about. It's about your relationship with your child. I agree with the 90% of what he said, okay? But some of the verbiage I don't agree with, okay? Beating is, to me, when you use the term beating, it's fisticuffs, all of that stuff, and it's until you're done. It's like, you know, until you're gonna beat them until you're tired, okay? That's not what I'm talking about. And you're saying you can't let these people put hands on your kids. They're not putting hands on your kid. But if your kid is in there disrespectful in a classroom and just not listening and talking to the teacher funny, you're right. It's your failure as a parent to communicate. All right. I agree with that. But hey, spare the rod, spoil the child in my idea. Felisa says my oldest son never had a whooping, but my youngest got his ass whooped all the time. All right. Circumstances. All right. But in a black family, okay, we have to do what we have to do. We don't have the privilege that the white people have, okay? We have to do what we have to do to get our child to that next level, period.
True. And that's what I wanted to say. With my influences, I had about 95% old school men around me. So all I knew and heard about was how they got whoopings back in the day and how it helped. Now, like I said, my circumstance was different. You know, so they didn't really see. It wasn't until I got over there with my grandparents till they saw what I was talking about. You know what I mean?
Respect Kevin back, bro. I'm sorry.
Oh, what did Kevin say?
He said respect. No, respect. Wait, man, we appreciate your opinions. We appreciate your comment, okay? I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm not saying that you're right. I'm just saying that we appreciate it. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. And 90% of what he said was I agree totally with what he said on some of the things, just some of the verbiage, and you know, it's always good to have that type of communication with your kid, because if you do have that communication with your child and they know where you're coming from, you ain't gonna have them problems at school, you know. And Jeff, to your comment, okay, you raised around those people and talked about the whipping, but I bet you put the fear in you about that whipping. Those whippings, they did, you know, because behind the whooping was always a lesson. And that's what was always taught to me from those men. Absolutely. It was whenever they got a whooping, it was because of a lesson. So and even if it was kind of misconstrued a little bit, they still rounded out and they said, well, you know, I understand why mama did that, because she didn't know this was going on, that was going on. All she had was what she saw. Exactly. So and that makes sense to me. You know what I mean? And I guess it can be a cultural thing, but when you look at how we do have to raise our children, and especially back then, you know, the dynamic in raising your children now is different. You know what I mean? I talk like it's a young mother who's her name is Bree. She works with us with when we mentor the girls on Saturdays, and she says her daughter's intelligent, intellectual. Now she can't talk to her child. She can talk and reason with her child. You know what I mean? But it's other girls in this program that I look at, I'll be like, you need a good one to the butt, yo. I always tell them girls every week, I say, don't do nothing around me that you won't do in front of another man or your dad. That's what I tell them. But I'll be seeing that stuff. I'll be like, oh, that's why I'm scared about having a little girl. I say, oh, Jesus. Oh, no. I said, oh, no.
That's kind of scary what you just said right there, that you wouldn't do in front of your daddy.
I'm telling you, because that's what I tell them that, because I say, because you don't know, because you never know what's going on around you. You got to watch out for how people perceive you. And I tell them, especially these young boys, I say, yeah, I think it's cute for them to do little stuff to you. But then when they touch you on the butt, they touch your chest, you invited it in and you thought it was cute. You laughed it off. but you should have spoke up and said, no, stop. So that's what I try to teach them girls. But anyway, back to the whooping part though. You know what I mean?
When my son came out, I gave him dap, dude. I was so glad I had a boy.
When he came out, he gave him dap.
Hey man,
he
coming out, got one arm out.
I'm gonna try to do that when she come out the womb. Her name is gonna be Maya. So when I see Maya come out of the womb, I'm gonna try to be like, "Hey girl, what it do?" She be like, "Aye, daddy."
Hey, Kevin Hodges says, a side note on parents, some of them wait until the child is 8, 9 years old to start talking to them. You got to talk from the cradle. Communicate that absolutely, positively correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. You know, that's another whole job. You're a teacher.
Yeah.
You're a psychiatrist. Okay. You're a doctor. You're counselor. You're all of that, man. And, you know, it's a hard job, but some people out there doing the right things, and you know, Kevin, I can imagine you doing the right things with yours, man. So, hey, bro, respect again, and appreciate you making those comments. But you know, the bottom line is this, in my opinion, and Marcella said it well. It's different circumstances, different people do different things. Is it right? And using Kevin's word, to beat your child? No, I would never beat my child. Okay, that's long and drawn out. That's pain. That's a painful thing.
Kids know the difference of what a beating is.
Never. I don't think it's ever right to beat a child.
No, not at all. Not at all.
All right.
But the children will term it anyway. And once you told a child that, you know, once they heard and understood that, okay, you dial 911 and you got them on speed dial, and that way you basically saying you won't ever have to get a whooping again. Okay, they can't touch you. I know a lady who her son literally said, you know, he was just mouthing off, and she said, I'm gonna get you when you get home. He said, no, you're not. And she was like, excuse me. He said, no, you're not. Okay, because if you touch me, I'm gonna call 911. She said, you got to get to the phone first. All right. That's when the beating comes, and you know, you punch him in the throat. You don't karate chop him in the throat. You punch him. You just punch the whole esophagus and just let it, you know, so he can't say another word because he already mouthing off. No, I don't mean look. Views are expressed on this DopelivenTV Live are not necessarily.
Thank you.
There you go.
It's affiliates. Okay. I've never beat a child. I would never do that. Okay, those are just jokes. Okay, I'm a comedian. That's what I do. I make people laugh. Handle that business, y'all.
Well, you know, we talk about talking to kids, talking. Yeah, you talk to your kids, but like I said, at some point they may still, you know. And another thing I want to bring up is the environment that our children are in is a different environment than some other children. I'm not sure where you went to school, Marcy.
With you?
Where I went to school and Greg went to school.
With you guys.
Sometimes we had to fight our way out, you know?
Marcy, you didn't go to school with us.
Marcy, you went to West Side.
I graduated with Greg and
Gina.
Maurice.
Oh my God.
Gina,
and Suzette.
Oh my gosh.
Gina, we went to West Side. She went to
You
West Side.
know what it was like going through high school. You know what it is. So it's not, it's I think it has a lot to do with your environment. You could talk to your kids and talk to them, and you're an exception to the rule, Marcy. And it's probably some other children that, you know, like yourself, who didn't have to get spankings growing up. But the majority of the people I knew did.
I bet you liked them spankings when you grew up, though, didn't you, girl? Girl, come here, bring me that ass. Bam, 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 bam. Spank,
oh my
God. Don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody.
Him down.
She said, don't tell nobody.
Kevin Hodges says our children are the victims of 30 years of the destabilization of public education. Many parents are unable to do what's necessary because they themselves have suffered under the same system. It's just a repeating cycle. I agree with that as well.
Yeah,
it is.
But you have society now telling us how to raise our children, though. You have society coming in saying what to do, what not to do. You should use timeout and this, that, and the other. But I don't think it's a set rule or set guidelines in every household on how to raise a child.
It's individualized. Kevin mentioned that. Jeff mentioned that.
That's what I keep saying. It depends on. I'm not saying don't spank your child. I'm totally against that. And that's what I'm saying. It depends on the household. It depends on the child. It depends on the circumstances. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm against spanking a child. I just didn't have to. My parents didn't have to. And there's some kids that will listen. And you still, again, all my dad had to do was pull up his one little eyebrow. We called it the Gerard look. The Gerard, Jeff, you're too young, but the dark shadows and the werewolf Gerard, how he put that little eyebrow up. And that's all my dad had to do was put that little eyebrow up. And we were like,
Is it kind of like is it kind of like Dwayne Johnson's
Yeah, that's what.
Okay, see, we got a reference. We got an up-to-date reference.
Okay, but that's what we said. Daddy did that Gerard look. That eyebrow went up. It's like we sitting right here. We not moving, until he tell us to move. We ain't gonna even breathe. And mom, she wasn't short stopping either. She just like look like give a look like, and we straightened up. And some kids you can do that with. Others you can't. And I'm a quick little story of one of the students. She was in school suspension, and I was like, "What you doing in here?" Because they all came through me, and she's like, "No, I cussed out my teacher." I said, "You did what?" I cussed out my teacher. I said, "Well, wait, hold up, let's hold up. That's an adult you cursed out." I said, "No, baby, you don't do that. If you have an issue with an adult, you let your parents know and let them come up and handle it." "Oh, no, because I can just cuss them out." She was all big and bad around, her little classmates. I said, "So if your parents found out that you cursed out an adult, huh?" She started backing up. I said, "So what are your parents going to say about that?"
And that's when you hit them in the throat.
Yeah.
Always.
I did have a talk with that young lady, and I told her I don't want to see you in school suspension again. And she kind of looked at me. She's like, "Yes, ma'am." And when I would see her in the hallway and things, even when I stopped working there, I saw her on her job. I ran into her. She worked at a grocery store. I was like, "Hey, baby girl." She's like, "Hey, grandma." They all called me grandma. I said, "How you doing?" We were in the parking lot. She said, "I'm fine." I said, "Come here." I said, "What's been going on?" She said, "I haven't gotten in trouble. I don't get in trouble anymore." And I said, "Why not?" And she said, "Well, it made sense what you told me." I said, "Are you telling me the truth?" She said, "Yes, ma'am. You can ask my teachers and stuff. My grades are better and things." And sometime, again, it just takes sometime someone, I don't know, a lot of our students were from foster care too. And not to say that they're different or anything, but they've gone through a lot. Whereas they might have gone through this foster home and then maybe gotten rejected. So now they're in this one and this one. And so they're doing things to act out. Several of the kids that I had to speak to, and some very stern, were the closest ones to me. And they told me later, "You care." They said, "We noticed you really care." I'm like, "Yeah, all y'all my kids. Yeah, I'll beat you up, if I need to. And I'm a fuss and all that. But that's because I love you." And a lot of them have turned around. I had teachers bringing the kids to me. "Can you talk to this one?" I'm like, "Is that one of your students?" They're like, "Yeah, they don't listen to us." I was just like, come on over here in this corner. Let me talk to you. What's going on? And some of the stories that came out were mind-boggling. One little kid, I'm going to work at 5:30. I get scared to death. He's behind the big air conditioner. It's still almost dark, and I'm like, okay, I'm looking around in the parking lot by myself. Okay, I hope no dogs come, nobody come out. And I see this dark shadow. And I'm like, "Who is that? Come out," and I'm getting my stand. Like, okay, am I gonna make it to the door? Can I make it to my car? Oh, I can't run. I'm gonna get caught, thinking this to myself. And it was a young kid. He left his house. His parents were fighting. It was 5:30 in the morning.
Well, Marcy, I take my hat off to you, because the job you did, I could not do. It would wear on me. I just couldn't do it. There's certain
I'm not there anymore.
But you did it. There's certain people made for certain things in life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not built for that. It will. I couldn't sleep at night.
And that's why I'm no longer there, because they would tell me, well, Marcella, you can't cry. Don't read the documents. Okay, I got to read the documents. I got to figure out, because some of the kids can only go, like, say, they can go to the maternal grandparents, but they can't see the paternal grandparents. This one can see the mother, but they can't see the father. Oh, you got siblings. You can see 2 of your 6 siblings, but you can't see the rest of them. And I would have to read the whole story to see, okay. And the reason why I was crying, because I would see what the children went through. And it's like, and I would go, to the CEO and stuff. And I'm like, hold on. Why am I setting up, scheduling a supervised visitation when this is the parent that raped this 4-year-old? But in the state of Indiana, they try to, at all costs, send the kids back. And I'm like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it, because I have addresses here.
Is to reunite those children back with their parent, no matter what they've done.
And that's crazy, because a lot of these were repeat offenders. And then when they go, when you go to the foster,
you read in the paper, you hear on the news that this child that was taken from the home and then put back in the home is now being buried.
Come on. We've had a couple of those cases. I was messed up. I am very sensitive when it comes to things like that. And I'm like, wait, I was helping a friend out with her organization. And I was like, love you. Can't do it. You can get a donation or 2, from me, but I can't do it. And, they sometimes come to me and want to tell me a story. I said, don't tell me anything about a child being mistreated, someone mentally challenged being mistreated, or an elderly person being mistreated. But I can't bring everybody home with me.
What I don't understand is there are family members that will see these children being mistreated, cousins, aunts, that don't even live in the home, but they know this child is being mistreated and they won't report it. That's what I don't understand.
Did you hear what I told you earlier?
They'll complain to others like, she's a terrible mother. She beats him all the time. But you're not saying anything.
Did you hear what I told you earlier? Do I see a bruise on this child when CPS is called? No. Do I see a rep or bleeding or anything on this child? No. Okay, let me talk to this child. And they might have been there previously and put the child back in the family. Like we said, they're going back in the family. So the parent that already beat the crap out of you because you said something to somebody, or they think you said something because someone reported it, and they sent you right back into that environment. So it get to the point where the kids are like, no, ain't nothing happened. We don't know what they're talking about. Okay, well, you get to go back because they have been
conditioned.
Yeah, that it doesn't matter. We're going to the people who are here to protect us. I know of someone who went to the police and Child Protective Services, begged them not to send them back, and was sent back. And I remember talking to that caseworker, and she was like, well, the child won't say anything to me. So unless the child say something to me, and I said, so if the child were to say something to you, then would the child be taken out? Well, 9 times out of 10, if we still don't see any signs of anything, physical signs or anything like that. Not until, that if it happens several times, then maybe. I said, so several times, like get put in the hospital or something. I said, so you're going to wait until that child get put in the hospital? Mm-hmm. And it's crazy. But then I also understand the Child Protective Service caseworker, because she says we have rules and regulations put in place, and we have to go by these rules and regulations. And if we don't actually see this happening, our hands are tied. And she was like, how do you think I feel? I have to send the child back. I go to court. Yeah. I'm like, look, this, I've heard this, but the child's not saying anything because we've taken them, sent them back. And so we have to figure out what needs to be done to help some of these children that are out there, because sometimes if you're bullied, you can turn into a bully because that's all you. I saw something on the internet the other day, a court thing, and the guy, it was for domestic abuse to his spouse, and he told the judge that now his mother was there. He was grown. His mother was there on his behalf, and she was cussing him out. And he said, "Judge, this is all I know. My mom used to cuss me out and beat me all the time. So this is what I know. So I got my woman here, and I was taught cuss her out
And
beat the hell out of her."
and what I'm noticing when it comes to a lot of these different programs with kids, they want to do the same thing. And the thing is, it's funny because me and one of my business partners, we got a business we're gonna start. It was the boys program. It's called Household Consulting Group. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna work with these boys. And our program is centered around it's a system I designed, and one of my guys helped me do it, but it's centered around anger. Because 9 times out of 10, when you're dealing with a child in the system in the home, it's anger centered. So we have to teach. We're going to be teaching the children in group settings what they can and what they can't control, but then what either inward or outward influences control that. So it starts with you first to enter, and then we start going out to like family, friends, institutions, culture, until we get to the outside of the government system, and they figure out the things that they can and can't control. So they realize that they're in charge of their own destiny, rather than having somebody tell them, "Hey, this is what you can be. This is who you are." So that's what we're gonna teach these young boys, because what's going on in the system, even with the young girls too, a lot of that is anger. And it's only based off what they've seen, seen and heard from either their parents or different influence family members that were around them. You know what I mean? It's pretty deep.
That's what's needed, man. It needs from a male and a female perspective. Yeah. And even though we've talked about the ones that got away, the ones that were lost in this and that, there can be some that you can save as well, okay, from conversations like that. There was a guy that who lives in California now, I think. No, he lives in Georgia now. And he did a thing called Boys to Men, I think it was. Boys to Blazers, I'm sorry. He would show these guys how to change their lives, he would invite everyone to donate, like Gina and her friends' shoes, but they would donate jackets or suits and ties and shirts, and dress these guys up. And the group of guys that he mentored, some parents, male figures, were helping, and they would show these guys how to tie ties, groom themselves, those that were very unkempt. Teach them how to groom themselves and help them to get to the next level, get a job, learn how to talk to people, etiquette class and all of that stuff. But it made them feel that they meant something, that they were a part of
their worth.
Yeah. And so I think more situations, shout out to you, bro, and congratulations once everything gets started. Even for thinking of it, people need that. Okay, there should be a lady doing the same thing for the women, these girls. Right? Appreciate that, Kevin Hodges. Kevin, you need to stay in contact with us, man. You got some great comments, man. We appreciate you, bro. But that's what's needed sometimes, man. Just a different scene, a different scenario for these kids. They've seen this whole thing all their life. Steve Harvey does the same thing every year on his farm. Take these kids down there and let them see something different. I'm not a Steve Harvey fan, okay, but anytime that these kids are being transformed or have the opportunity to transform, it doesn't always take a whipping or a spanking, okay, to get them straight, okay. Like Marcy said, talk to them and let them know that there's something different as opposed other than the street that they came up on or the guys that they hang out with. My son went to college. He got scholarships from a whole bunch of different places, but all of his friends were going to Ball State and were going to Vincennes.
That's
And I
beautiful.
told him,
Boilermakers, Purdue.
I told him, I
Right.
said, that's not gonna happen, man. You know, after high school, these same guys, I said, watch what happens to them. You know, not saying anything bad about them, okay, but watch what happens to them, because they're gonna go to college, because all of them went to college, but all of them didn't graduate. They dropped out, and you know, not saying anything about bad about you guys, okay. You know, life. And I told these guys, we were sitting in the recording studio, the one I had at my house, and I sat them all down. It was close to graduation. I said, hey, when y'all walk across that stage, life starts, okay? Real life.
Yeah.
You've been sheltered, you've been taken care of. I said, but once you walk across that stage and this summer is over, life begins. Everybody say, yeah, we got you, Pops. Okay, we're going to college, this and that, okay? I know for a fact that the group of people that my son was hanging with, there's one of them is dead. A couple of them are in jail. All of them dropped out of college. All the guys he used to hang with, they dropped out of college. He's the only one that went to college, graduated, doing, you know, they're doing great. The ones that did drop out are doing great. One of them's getting ready to get married. One of them has 2 kids and working nicely. Okay, but just think how much easier it would have been if they had had. And a lot of these guys didn't have fathers either. I was that father figure to them. But you know, I'm giving my son the share of all of the parenting because he's my son. I can only do a little bit for them. So it's just a lot of misnomers that people have about raising their children. All right. And we talking about spanking. Is it capital punishment? You know, we putting labels on it like that. Okay. Again, everybody's got to do what they have to do in their own circumstances with their own children. You know, Kevin said, hey, nobody should be putting their hands on these kids. Realistically, you're right. You know, they shouldn't be putting their hands on these kids. But some of these kids need to be collared, okay, and hit in the throat. I joke about the hit in the throat, okay. But, you know, what do we do? What can we do? We had to watch our own, okay. And if there's somebody that will reach out, such as Jeff, such as Kevin, to these kids and at least offer them an opportunity, let them see something different, change their lives. All right. I got on the soapbox for a second, y'all. I apologize. Okay.
No, that's good.
You're good. But you know what? How you say that Jeff is looking at doing like an organization or something, and something that I tell other parents, if you see these kids out here, because I remember one of the security guards asked me when I was asking about one of the kids that I had to talk to, and kind of like try to, you know, look me up like what you gonna do about it, and you know, I had to check him. And he came back 2 or 3 days later, and I called him by his name, Mr. Let's say Amos, Mr. Amos, how you doing today? And he kind of like looked like, oh, you know my name. I know your name. And I said, baby, what do you want to eat today? And he just kind of like paused, and he told me, but it was from that moment on, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And when he disappeared, and the security guard, I said, no, I said, I believe in a village raising a child. And when I told the story before, what I did see him when he came back with his mom to get his cap and gown, and he heard that I'd been looking for him, and I found out he had gone to night school to get extra credits. He was like, wow, you missed me out of all of these kids. I said, because you all are my children. And I tell other parents, if you see a child that's maybe falling through the cracks, don't have that family dynamic, if you can, try to kind of reel that child in. On weekends, I had a house load of young males. They came from, you know, my only thing was if your child's in my house on a Sunday, they're going to church with me, or you're going to have to come get them before church starts, or they're going. We had Jehovah's Witness, Baptist, Kojic. We don't believe in God, all those, and they all would go to church. I would cook. I was teaching them how to cook. I was teaching them how to budget their money. We sometimes talked about the Bible because my son would bring it up. They'd ask me questions. I taught them about being gentlemen, how to treat women, you know, and they were like, oh, no, because this, that, and the other. I said, how would you feel if they did that to your mom or your sister? And when I brought it to them in that manner, they were like, okay. There were some kids that were like, look, I can eat in 2 days. We look forward to the weekends coming to Mama Marcy's house because I cook. I like to cook. That's, you know, that was a big thing, you know, for me. So they knew they had Thanksgiving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, things of that nature. My dad and stepmom did the same thing. Like at that time, before we found out about my oldest brother, I only had one brother, naturally, but he always had a whole group of guys. There were young men where my brother would come and ask my dad and stepmom, can he spend the night? This is on a Friday. Those kids stayed 2 and 3 years. The parents didn't care. They stayed. When my dad passed away, all of these young men that came up when you do remarks, crying, because they're like, the family I came from, they didn't care. Your stepmom and your dad stepped up. And they talked about my dad, how he was just as stern with them as he was with my brother. My dad didn't play. He would get in their face and like, no, this is not what you're going to do. And they're, all of them didn't go to college, but they're good kids. I tell parents, if you see these kids and they're falling through the cracks, if you can talk to them, try to talk to them. Try to get a relationship with them, especially these little smart but little girls, with the neck rolls. And I was real quick. When I see these little girls with their little zipper all the way down, dang near to their navel, and they bigger than me chest-wise, and I would just do something like this, just like close my shirt, like, or just like tap my chest like this, and they'll look down. I'm like, baby, you got a sweater? Because those, the parents look like they were painted on. I joke a little bit, with them, because I didn't want it to be like I'm always like trying to find something wrong or whatever. I just said, leave something to the imagination for these little boys. Don't, here it is, come get it, pretty much. Don't let them feel all up on you or come all up on you, because, in the lunch lines, they'll be all, and I'm like, if you don't get back up, and this was before COVID, but just talk to them, try to teach them whether they're yours or not. Mm-hmm. It goes a long way.
We need our Mentos moment. Jeff, what would you say to new parents as far as advice for discipline?
What I would say is, as far as discipline can come in many forms. You know what I mean? There's more than one way to skin a cat out here in these streets when you have kids. And it's like we've all alluded to tonight in some type of way. Every child is different, and every parent disciplines their child differently, but it's up to that parent to figure out what's going to work best for their child. Mm-hmm. They might need a little pop on the butt every now and then. They might need you to give a pop in the butt and reasoning. You might have tried to reason so much that, it might be out of reach. You might have to send them somewhere. It's like we've all said, there's many ways to skin a cat. So the accountability that has to fall on the parent is that, like, now we're gonna put the coaching on it. It's up to you to open up your eyes, look at the child that you have, and understand emotionally and physically how your child responds to you, and adapt accordingly. Don't put your emotions behind it, because everybody feels let down. I don't care if you're a parent or a child. Everybody feels that way at some point in time. So if your child does let you down, kind of internalize that. But if you feel that way, try to talk about that with your kid. Don't release it when you got the belt and just, I'm beating you because that's a negative reinforcement. You know what I mean?
All them hundreds of other times.
Exactly. All them hundreds of other times. Exactly. Yeah. Because all of that does build up and add up, and it can really damage that mental of the child. So parents, be the change that you want to be for your kids. So that way you can break that curse, and you can think of different ways to handle your children.
Well spoken.
It's good.
So today, everybody, we were talking about the spanking the children, putting your foot in their ass. Oh, I'm sorry myself, putting your foot in their donkey. And
I didn't say anything, Greg.
Is it right? Is it wrong? Should we do more? Should we do less? Okay. I guess the bottom line and what we talked about today is that it's up to every individual. We got to respect everybody, but we don't want to see kids get beat.
But, as long as it's not abuse.
we got to make sure that the parents are doing what they're doing too. Okay, and again, people like Jeff, people like Kevin, people like yourself, Marcella, who are willing to stick your necks out to show them a different way. I applaud you all right, and that's Dope Living TV live tonight. Okay, Gina, tell them about the Distinguished Authors Guild.
Absolutely. Distinguished Authors Guild is a literary award show that honors African American authors for the hard work and the time that they put into writing their books. We give them that honor on November 11th. Tickets are available on Eventbrite at Distinguished Authors Guild Literary Award Show. When you purchase a ticket, not only are you in for a night of excitement and entertainment, but a portion of the proceeds goes towards freshman college students who are in the literary field. So we are helping to move our youth forward so that they can get the education they're looking for and be our future authors.
Absolutely. I'll make sure y'all check it out. We got Ruby Tech performing from straight from Barbados and hosted by Miss Arkansas comedian. Most definitely. Jeff, you got an event going on.
Yeah, man. Friday, November 19th from 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. The Cure business tour will be going on at Nashville Entrepreneur Center. This consists of myself, life coach Jeff. I'm going from right to left. Myself, life coach Jeff, Carl Weatherspoon, Jennifer Williams in the middle, Matthew Santana, and Neapolis Malik Malachi on the end. Now, we're going to be talking about a number of things that can help you elevate your business. I'm going to talk to you so I can help you get your mind right. But we all got some keys that's going to help you elevate your mind, body, and soul on this Cure business tour. So who needs a vaccine for your business when we are the Cure?
There you go.
Because drink Core water, man. This is perfectly balanced pH, purified water.
Okay, what's coming back?
Core is doing their part for the environment because this bottle is made from 100% recycled plastic. And if, as it recycles itself,
look at that look.
This will come back.
You can't even get it out. No, don't
let us know.
No. He can't even get it out.
As a whooping stick.
Yes, I was getting ready to say that. As one of the tools that you can use to discipline your child. Okay? As a matter of fact, you ain't even got to recycle this. Just get a full bottle.
Just keep the bottle and go.
grab it.
Put a disclaimer out there, please.
Grab it at the blue part. You gotta because see, how come people when they using these bottles to do stuff, they can't just do it normally. You got to grab the top and then turn it over there. But yeah,
I don't know about all that.
You ain't got to recycle it, man. Just go ahead on and use it, okay? Core is good. It's good for a lot of stuff. Like I said, it is perfectly balanced, pure pH balanced, purified water. Hey, man, we had a good time tonight. All right, tomorrow, great show. We're gonna talk about health and fitness tomorrow.
Yes.
Oh,
so
tune in tomorrow, please. It's for everybody, no matter what age you're at. Right now, there are things you can do. Even if you're an older person, there are things you can do now to get back to being healthy, reverse illnesses, exercise, getting rest. Tune in. Tell your friends to tune in tomorrow. Dope Living Live, 7 p.m.
Ain't nobody getting hit in the throat tomorrow. Nah, I mean, it's gonna be. Matter of fact, they're gonna show you motions that you can get that throat tight.
No.
Oh my God. We want to learn and we want to educate. We want to teach. We want to make sure we get something for everybody, for real. All right. Yeah. I apologize to everybody today because I've literally more than 24. I had no sleep. I'm destroying. I know. And I got done early so y'all can just reprimand me. Go ahead. Mind your business.
Just make sure you're on tomorrow. We're going to talk about that.
If I'm not on tomorrow, I'll make sure that you guys are.
You need to hear what's going to be said tomorrow.
But I'm like a child. Okay, I don't want to
That's
hear
the hard-headed one. See, I said that earlier.
wrong. Nobody wants to hear when they're doing wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
It's a matter of life or death.
I'm still here today. I mean, if I wake up tomorrow, then if I wake up tomorrow, I'm gonna make sure that I find my son and just slap him in the back of his throat, so that
You know what, Greg? You make me want to hit you in your throat. Punch you dead in your throat.
All right, white girl. I mean, you feeling froggy? Jump
in your throat. Listen, did you just say you're feeling froggy? Jump.
Okay.
Feeling froggy? Jump.
Hey, let me ask y'all
That's
something.
the environment we grew up in.
Right.
Me too. I grew up around you guys.
Knock this stick off my shoulder. We're going to fight. You remember that one?
Yes. Yeah. Meet me in the playground at 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. 3 o'clock. As soon as the bell ring, I never showed up. But,
showed up.
Let me ask y'all a question, okay? So we talked about R. Kelly yesterday and the sex trafficking and all that stuff. He's going to jail. Well, he's already in jail, so he's at home. Let's put it like that. Are y'all still gonna listen to his music?
We said we weren't going to talk about that today.
We got 10 minutes. 9.
I have his music. I'm still going to listen to it.
Are you going to listen to it?
I purchase it. I'm not going to purchase any, but I haven't purchased his music in a while. But I do have.
You had none in a while.
I do have his music. I don't know because I can't really say until I listen to it because I don't know how it's going to make me feel when I listen to it.
His music didn't do anything to
yeah, but you have to think about what his lyrics are saying, and now what's happening, and the act.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Charges. I mean, listen to what. I think I would listen more to the words now because a lot of his lyrics sound like
he was talking about what he's been accused of. Mm-hmm.
Think about it. Think about all of the songs he's written. A lot of them sounds like he may have been talking about young girls. So I don't know. I just don't know how it would make me feel until I hear it.
So I can't do this?
You just did this. Nope.
You should get you a new theme song.
I can't do that no more. Hey,
no.
Look, okay, that song was one of it was a love song. Okay, that was cool, but a lot of people are going. When they say cancel R. Kelly, they canceled his ass for real. But
yeah, I don't think you're gonna be hearing his music on the radio.
No,
I mean they've been playing it up until now.
He does.
I heard it last week.
We probably never gonna get back on the air anyway because I played just that little bit, right? I don't know. Are you, Jeff? Were you a R. Kelly? I'm not gonna say you're a fan, but did you listen to his music?
Oh yeah, I say that wholeheartedly. I don't care what nobody think. Yeah, I listen to R. Kelly music. Chocolate Factory, one of the best albums I have.
Dude,
I got that one, Jeff.
Chocolate Factory was amazing.
Yes, dude, he put his foot in it. Marcy, you don't listen to R. Kelly, though, right?
I do.
Huh?
I don't have any of his music, but I used to step to some of his music. Yes.
Okay. All right. I mean, my thing is this, and I hear you, Gina. You're gonna listen to the lyrics. I mean, I think everybody's gonna do that for a minute, okay? But
I've been doing that for a long time.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, for sure. I always gonna listen to I listen to the lyrics of all the songs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And what's you got Elvis. Elvis, he did his thing too. You know what I mean? So do we cancel him in our houses? Now,
I've never liked Elvis.
I'm not riding down the block bumping no R. Kelly. I ain't gonna do that because
bumping and grinding.
There's people. No, I mean bumping the songs because there's
I know what you mean.
out there that got the mentality. It's like, man, I ain't never playing R. Kelly music, and listen, if I hear it, somebody gonna catch a case. All right, so. If I listen to R. Kelly music, because some of his music is good riding music too. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's like Al Green. Man, we used to go to Mississippi, and Al Green just played on the 8-track. Daddy had an 8-track. He had the Cadillac with the 8-track player in. He made
Mhm.
an 8-track player. And I'm like, Dad, what is this? What is this, boy? Listen, click, click. Ooh, for the good time. I'm like, dang, all of that. Dad, rewind that. Can't rewind an 8-track, boy.
8-track.
Rewind an 8-track.
But you can get that pen or pencil and rewind that cassette tape.
Oh yeah. Don't say cassettes, man. That's Danita Bohannon. You don't want me to tell that story again. Danita Bohannon. She took my.
Oh,
the
no.
Charleston pole, baby.
No, come on. Don't
You have been traumatized.
Please.
Your tape recorder, man. I ain't heard
You
this
are
story.
80 years old and
Oh,
still
my gosh.
You want to
traumatized.
hear the story,
It's time
Jeff?
to, it's
I
time
wanna
to
hear the
close the
story.
show.
Not yet. We got 4 minutes. Jeff, want to hear the story. Hold on.
I want to hear the story. I ain't heard
Jeff,
this story.
he's
Close
all of
the
80 years
show.
old and still telling the
So,
story
Jeff.
about that.
So
Oh, no.
Danita was the
Mhm.
finest girl in junior high school.
Okay.
Long hair, man, light
Turn the
skin,
volume up.
beautiful eyes. She was the finest girl. I'm going to go. She was the finest girl in time. And Greg got a chance to hang with her, right?
Okay.
So I wanted to really impress her. We was going to the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago on a field trip.
Okay.
So she loved Chaka Khan, so I made Chaka Khan tape. All right,
Mhm.
Sweet Thing and Midnight and all of them. So I knew she liked it, so I brought the tape recorder on the bus. Me and her
Okay.
listening to it side by side. We going to the museum hand in hand. Everything cool. Y'all, you can't hold hands. Okay, whatever. You know, I felt on the booty, but we got back on the bus, man. And, like I said, she was a new student in school. I got her. I was cool. Little did I know that she was only going to be there a couple of days, okay, and was moving on. So, long story short, she wanted to keep the tape recorder overnight because she wanted to hear the music. I ain't never seen her again.
You know what? She's watching you right now.
Yeah, but you know what? She probably still got that tape recorder too. That's because when you do bad to people, Danita Bohannon, whatever your name is, Danita Bohannon, when you do bad to people, bad come back on you. So I bet you a bag lady right now playing that same little tape recorder, looking for the pattern.
He didn't call her a bag lady.
She probably got the same tape, listening to the same Chaka Khan tape. Chaka Khan old, she don't sing that song no more, and you old playing a cassette with a bad tape. Danita Bohannon, I put your name out there. Danita Bohannon. You want to debate me? Come on the show, okay? But whatever.
Yeah, please don't encourage the story again, okay?
Hey, Kevin, if
This
you
was
want
great.
to hang out with us, man, get on the panel one day. I'll tell you the story again. All right. Felicia, you come back on here. I'll tell you the story again. All right. Who else? I got a list of names here, but I'm not even gonna name them. Everybody that texted me, inboxed me, everybody that was on the phone. Appreciate you guys. Okay, this is what we do this for. She said, "Oh Lord, Danita Bohannon, I'm putting you on blast, girl.
We need to find this woman,
Danita Bohannon. Give me my tape recorder back. My daddy was looking for that. He gone now.
Got to put the
help, y'all. Gina, reel him in.
I can't. I tried.
We
but
can do-
Jeff kept pushing him.
Hey, we could take 30, 45 minutes of the segment on the show just on her and this tape recorder.
No.
Dude, I got this. I got this. We can
It
go
can
over.
be done.
That's
Jeff,
like
are you
us
tired
getting
as well?
That's like us getting a beating.
Worse.
Gina said,
Worse.
"Y'all getting the beat." Oh no!
It's the beat. Hey, Gina, get my cuts back. Look at that. Get my cuts back, y'all. Yeah.
All right.
Get
There
my
you go.
cuts back. That's one of the reasons I'm still up too, man. I did the gym. I did some work. I did some network. Did some more work. Did some more networking.
Okay.
You know what? I haven't even eaten. That's what I'm gonna do.
He remembering to eat, homie. That's not good.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it together.
At 9:00 p.m.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get something.
Yeah, that's not good, bro.
Some nice rib joint. No, I don't even eat ribs.
You don't eat ribs? See, you ain't black. What
I
you mean you don't eat ribs?
either.
You ain't either then.
Gina, she said I ain't black. That's the pot calling the kettle white.
I eat ribs.
Huh?
I don't eat pork or beef.
Oh no, girl, give me my bacon, my pork chops, my
Oh my gosh. So
What?
don't say a word tomorrow, Marcel, when we have the coaches on tomorrow. The
I know
health
I can't.
coaches.
Look,
Marcel,
I read the book. But you know what? They're saying that pork is good for you, though.
Girl,
A lot of
convinced me of that.
it's the other white meat.
No.
and
It's
on that
good for
note,
you.
white girl, we're gonna let the
No.
white girl talk about the white meat, and we're gonna end this show right now.
Gotta love them.
They love me. It's no choice. All right.
Yeah.
Living TV
I love
Live.
all
That's
my siblings.
Coach Jeff Relaford. That's my man's right there. Okay. We have Gina Gasson. She's an author, everybody. Make sure y'all still, even after the Distinguished Author Guild is over, keep sending her books, okay? And we have our resident Caucasian, Marcella, you know. I'm sorry, Marcella. Our preacher lady. Is that better?
What you say?
Preacher lady.
No, how about just Marcella?
She said, what
No,
you say?
everybody gotta have a title. Did you see I'm gonna get you sucker? We gotta get you some theme music. Ave Maria.
I love that song.
Don't give it that one.
Not him singing it though.
No.
And sing. If I wasn't so tired, man, I'd give y'all an R. Kelly concert.
That's okay. I'm a tune up out of here.
With the glass, with the shot glass. Let me stop, okay? Dope Living TV Live, y'all. We out. Good night.
Peace.